Thanks for clicking on this particular channel. So if this is your first time, you might want to subscribe to this particular YouTube channel, because what we do here basically is 100% practical, teaching you how to create a report and dashboard in a very unique way that you might have not even thought of before. So I'm going to show you how to create everything you see right here today. So now you look at this dynamic tooltip we have right on this. One of the amazing part of this dashboard is this particular part right here, where you can select top or bottom, whatever you really want. So what am I talking about? Right here we have by product name and by product group and by salesperson. Now we are seeing it by product group. You can click on salesperson and that shows you the bottom salesperson, and if I click on the top salesperson here, that gives me the top 4 salesperson. What if I want to increase it and go beyond 4? We can have it on 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 12, I presume, or 15. Now can you see that? So we can reduce it down to 3, and we're seeing just the top 3 salesperson. Very dynamic, very interesting to look at. Okay, one other part you might want to be interested in looking at is this particular part right here, where we have the salesperson. And this is exactly what we have right here. We can scroll down and see more of them. So now you can choose a particular manager by clicking here. That gives you the manager. So under this manager, we have some supervisor under them. So which supervisor you want to see? If there's this one, just go ahead and click it, and there you go. Click back and click on this one. Then you have it back to the default state. So right here, this view is different because we have it on Power BI service, where we don't have to click on our control key to navigate through the navigation we have right here, and it's very, very interesting. So you might be interested to look at how to get this built. If you want to do that, subscribe, like, leave a comment. Let me know what you feel about this, because I'm going to help you to build this from the scratch. Let's go ahead and bring in data to start, creating the dashboard you've just seen. Click on this particular part where it says get data, and I'm not sure if my data is Excel, workbook, or CSV. I'm going to click it out of it, and it will surely give me, let me go to the file. So I'm going to have this one open. Okay, yeah, I got it. So it's Excel. So I'm going to click on this one and get the sales data. Just click on open and have it in. So here we have it. You can click on it to just take a preview of what the data is like. And this is what it is. I can just go ahead and click on this part and check it for me to have access to this particular part. So when you click on load, it's going to load this straight up to Power BI for you. We don't want that. So what we want is to clean our data, right, and transform it. So go ahead and click on transform data. If you look at it, the data is not in anywhere as clean as what we want to use. So what do we do for the first time? So there are several ways to actually, clean up null and all of that. So the first thing I do when I receive data from clients and stuff like that is for me to check around to see if this particular, right here, I know for sure this one is going to get off. I don't really want this. This is the header here, so this date is not really important, so it's just the date that someone kept in the file. So for this null, I want to see if this null cut across all the columns. Okay, I'm really sure that they all cut across all the columns, so I just have to remove them, right? So in case I have null within the data, within the rows of the data in all columns, I don't want to affect them. So what I do to get this off is for me to just, I want to use remove rows here, and I will go to remove top rows. So selecting remove top rows, you are going to see this. So what you need to do is to count how many rows you want to remove, and these rows would be removed across every single column, right? Is 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to impute 3 right here, and quickly I click on OK. And that gives me this. So the next thing now is for me to promote the header. I can click here to actually go ahead and say use first row as header. Can you see it now? So that promoted the header for me. You can click it right here as well. So there are several ways to do one single thing in Power Query. So it depends on how much you know about Power Query. So quickly, after you are done doing that, so the next thing you have to do is to check around to see if the data types are some kind of right. So In case you want to actually do automatic check, just do Ctrl A and have all of the columns highlighted. So go to transform here. You're going to see where it says detect data type. So just click on it. It's going to help you to find and give you a good match. But sometimes I always love to do it myself because it might get it wrong. I just believe in what I do. So not what the machine is doing for me. Okay, let's say we are cool and we're good to go. And this is our first data. I am going to call this one my fact table. Fact table. So I believe you know what fact table is all about. Fact table is where you actually record your daily transaction into. So it has a lot of duplicates and all the keys here are foreign keys. So let's get this down to our Power BI desktop. So it's loading. Just give it some time. All right, we have our first table here. If I open it right now, those are the columns contained. Then we can come here and preview the data that we have here. Can you see it now? Just give it some time. All right, sure. There we go. So this is what it is. So we're going to be dealing with revenue, like analyzing and trying to show visualization about revenue, how our company is doing. So if you look at this part here, we have the quantity and we have the unit price. So let me go here. We are going to have an aid. Should I call it an aid? Something that's going to support us to write DAX. That is the Copilot in Power BI. So if I click here on the quick measure, I have it. I have a video about Copilot. Please check the video about Copilot in this particular platform and watch it and see how to turn on your Copilot, right? In Power BI desktop. So now we have a Copilot here with what? A suggestion with Copilot. And this is where you can actually type in whatever you want to type in. But one thing about Copilot is that you must understand the analytic jargon before you can use it. Not just the analytic jargon. This tool you're using specifically, Power BI right now. So you must at least know the jargons so that you can actually give the Copilot the right language that it would understand. So what am I talking about? So what we want to do now is to calculate the total revenue. And we have a column here that actually supports total revenue. One column here is for quantity. And that one here is for unit price. So if I come back here now, what I want to do is just to come here and say, okay, you know what? I want to calculate my total revenue. How do you think you can frame this? Can I just say calculate total revenue for me? So if I just go ahead and do that, it's not going to work. Let's try that and see. So I'm going to say calculate. Okay, what is the total revenue? So it doesn't know anything about what is total revenue. If I go ahead and say generate for me now, there is no way I could see anything. No suggestion. It can't generate any code for me because I don't give it what will definitely, make it work. Let's go down and see. Can you see it now? It just went into the fact table and sum up my order number. And that is crazy, right? So let us just give it what will definitely work. So right here, I'm going to have this removed. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to say, we have what we call iterator. Iterator is a function in Power BI that has to do with the X function, sum X, average X, max X, and the rank X. So I'm going to say iterate through the fact table and multiply unit price. So give a space, price. Okay, just give me some time. So unit price by what? By quantity order. So quantity. So this time around, we have given it what it is that it's looking for. We can go ahead and generate a new, DAX. Okay, fine. Let's scroll down and click on add. So if you know about your DAX before, once you see a correct DAX that the Copilot has generated, you would like, wow, this is what I'm looking for to see. Okay, let's kind of zoom closely to the screen and see what it is that we have. So can you see it now? Let me just do some adjustment here. Now, this is what it is. So we are some kind of iterating through this particular fact table right here, and we are doing this multiplication by unit price and the quantity, and it's exactly what it is. So you don't need to write this all by yourself. So I told you we have what will definitely aid us to do things with ease. So go ahead and change the name in case you don't want to use measure. So measure is not the name we should use. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to total sales, or I'm going to use total revenue. So total revenue here. So now we have just gotten our first measure using the Copilot. I told you, if you don't know how to turn on your Copilot, have a video or search for video for Copilot, then you're going to find it. Okay, now that we have achieved our calculation using the Copilot, let us break in our budget and do more complex, calculation with the Copilot. So right here, we have what I call human-friendly, human-friendly data. So it's about our budget, and what you can see, we have our budget for our transaction. So I think we have 12 columns here. I think over 12 columns, like 14 columns here. We have to transform it into a column. So it's in a row and it's human friendly. So the machine doesn't understand it. Let's see how we can transform this inside Power Query. So the data is still in Excel. Just go ahead and click on this, and I'm going to click on budget here. All right, so here we are. We have 3 years of data, 2019 to 2022, or 2021 right here, rather. So I'm just going to deal with my 2019 here. So click on it and have it highlighted. So we have lots of blanks, of course. So we go ahead and transform this. Okay, there you go. So if you look at it now, there are some couple of blanks here. So we have blanks here, and we have the year, which is this particular year we have right here. So if we remove this particular null, it's going to affect this year. But how are we going to solve this situation? Don't worry about it. We're going to fix it later. So now the next thing is the grand total here. So we don't need to keep this grand total, because when we actually, turn this and have a single column for our values, we can always sum that up and get our grand total, which means we have to remove this as well. So how do we go about all this? The first thing to do now is just for you to say, okay, fine. For this null here, I'm going to click here and say for null, I don't want to see the null. I can just scroll down, and for my grand total, I can click on this one. And if I click here, I have that cleaned up for me. Can you see that? So we need to promote the header. We can promote our header using this use first row as header here. And this is exactly what we have. Let's scroll a little bit to this end here. And if you look at this, we have, this column. I think, let me just remove this first. I'm going to remove this. We should have done this before now. Then you understand what I'm doing. Let's do this. So here we go. So remove filter. So we are back to the previous view. I just want you to understand what this column here stands for. This column you see right here is actually another total for each rows. Do you see that now? So the total, when you plus this, and other columns in the same line, then gives you this one. So we don't actually need it. So we need to get it off as well. So the only thing we can do is to actually highlight it and click on remove, and that removes this one for you. We can just, just make sure you click on this one here. Well, let us remove this one. Then now you can remove this one. Remove it. So if you're done removing that one, so we can now scroll all the way back here now and deal with the null and the grand total. Just like what we have done before, click on this and have this one removed. Scroll all the way down and move this one off. Click on OK. Then you just have to go here now and make sure you use first row as header. And that has given you exactly what you want. So we're going to actually make sure we transform this into two columns. Like, okay, I think it's going to be 3 columns into 3 columns. So one column for the sales ID, sales person ID, SP for salesperson ID, and that column is going to be for our month, and we're going to have column for the value. So one thing you have to look at here is this particular nulls. Don't actually bother about this nulls here. Null is equals to 0 if it is number, so you don't have to replace it except you know the actual value that should be in the null. So we are not going to bother about that. So all we have to do right now to do this with ease is to select this particular current column here and unpivot it and all of that. So let's do that. So remember, you have two options. You can do this and just come to the last, column here, then hold your shift key and click on this, right click, and you click on pivot column, and it's still going to give you this. So if I have this remove and do it the other way around, I'm still going to have the same thing. In order for me not to just scroll to that other end, I can just select this one single column called sales ID. I want to keep my sales ID. I don't want to actually, transform it to the other level. So I can just right click here and you can now see on pivot other columns, right? So can you see it now? We have the same thing. So right here, I'm going to just kind of come here and double click on this and just say this one is my budget. So can you see that? So let's go ahead and change the attribute here. You can double click on it and change this one to month. And that is cool. So we change it to month. So one thing we can do to bring order, we have 3 years of data, 19, 20, and 21. So we can do the same thing we have done right now to actually bring in our, our 20 and our 21 data right here. And after we have done that, the next thing we can do would be to some kind of append, right? So I think you know about appending data. So I'm talking about this append query here. So we can use the append query to actually bring our data into one single table. But do we really have to do that? I guess no. We have a better option. So let me show you the option we can use. So in this option, let us go to this particular navigation here. So if I click on navigation now, I can click on this particular gear icon or this particular settings icon here. So what this will give us is the preview of all the years we have. Can you see now? 2019, 20, and 2021, right? So what I'm going to do is just for me to have this particular one removed from here. I'm going to click on delete. So I have just gotten it deleted. So let me click on my source now. And inside my source, as you can see, this is the data for me to get my years. So I'm going to keep the name right here. And those are my 3 years of data. If I click on this, you can see the reflection here. The data for this, very one, this table is for 2020 and 2021. So for this item, the sheet, and this one here, we don't actually need them. So I'm going to select the 2 I need. So control and select this one. I don't want to select this one as part of it. I'm going to right click and say remove other columns. So that will definitely keep these 2 columns for me. So now instead of me to just, open this table, I can go ahead now and click on this. And once you have done that, let's go down and look at this part here where it says use original column name as prefix. So I want to just uncheck it. I don't want that. I can now click on OK. So now because we have some kind of left the last step to the above steps, is actually asking us if we really want to do this. Yes, of course. Go ahead and insert this. Okay, now we have all our data here. To prove that, let's click on this one. As you can see, 2019 down to 2021. And that is beautiful. All right, let's scroll down and look at this, if this is working. And no, something happened. Let's check it out. So the queries have been broken down to this particular change type right here. So what do I need to do right now? I actually need to start removing, those steps. We can fix it, but it's going to take us a lot of time. Let me just do what you would understand. I'm going to have this one removed. Remove this one now. Remove this. Just keep removing them. Remove, 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 and remove, and stop at expand data. So now finally we're here at expand data. So the very first thing I would like you to do is for you to scroll to the right hand corner at the last column here and just go ahead and remove this column 14 where we have the total for every single years, right? We don't want that. So the delete key on your keyboard will definitely get that off for you. So let us go to the left hand corner right here. Okay, now it's of not difference, it's just a little bit different from the previous one. Let's say this. So for now we have budget, we have salesperson ID, we have grand total and budget. So if I click here, so I'm going to see for now, just like what we have done previously, I would have that removed. So scroll down right now. If I get my my budget off, yeah, we don't need the budget. We don't actually need the grand total. For the salesperson ID, because we want to promote the first salesperson ID, we don't want to remove it for now. Let's just do okay here. And now we have this, right? So for we to use this as our header, so what we're going to do right now is let's go with this one. Click on this particular use first row as header here. And that is cool, right? So we can now come here and have this one removed by clicking here. So we go all the way down and click, then go ahead and remove that. So what about this? This is awesome, right? Okay, now it is time for we to actually, do the needful. So we're going to transform the 12 columns, just like what I've done before. You can hold this, or you can decide to like, okay, those are the visible one right now. Just click on this one and transform other 12 columns, right? And just go ahead and unpivot other columns. There you go. We're going to have this. So the very first thing I'm going to do now is to like, okay, I'm going to name this one to month here. And right here, I'm going to just name this one to total budget. I'm just going to name this one to budget. Budget. Here we go. Nicely done, right? All right. The next thing now is to just go ahead and close and apply. And we have to get this to our Power BI desktop once more. Okay, we're right here and we have new table with new data here. So if I click on it, we have this, we forgot to name it to budget. We just have 2019. I'm sorry, but we can do it right here. Just want to say budget. Just sorry for that. Okay, here we go. So budget. Or you can name it budget table or whatever you want. So here we have our budget right here. Okay, nicely done. We don't have the total budget right now. What we have right here is just an implicit measure for our budget, which is the budget here. So let us tell Copilot to do something for us again. I'm going to say sum. So let's just do sum the budgets column. Okay, generate the code here. And if we scroll down, let's see what it is that we have. So now can you see it now? Sum, and that is exactly what we want. We can just click on add. So here we go. We name this to our total budget. So everything looks great. So we've got our second measure. Okay, before we go further, let's do this. If I go back here now, I have my measure here and I have another measure right here. So this is not something I always love to do. I don't want to keep my measures inside, fact table or dimensional tables, wherever. So what I need to do is just for me to create a disconnected table to store all my measures right in. So let's do that. So the first thing you do is go to home and you click on enter data. If you watch my videos oftentimes, you will see that I always love to do this. I am going to call this one my table measure, or I'm going to do this. I'm going to say measure table. So we hit the enter key. So as you can see, we have our measure table here. So it just has one single column. So this is what it is. So try to remember the name. So go ahead and click on the measure you want to move. So once you click on it, just please pay attention to this particular part here where it says name. This is the name of the measure we've created. And where it says home table, this is the table where the measure is sitting right now. So we want to switch it to measure table. And that will just go into our measure table, and we have one single measure there. So let's just go ahead and move this particular one. So I just want to go from budget, so move it into the measure table, and that is great. So we've just moved them, and this is exactly what it is. So it's a disconnected table. It has no relationship with any other table we're going to bring in now. All right, let us look at what we have done. So I'm going to bring in my total revenue. So I want to create a table for my total revenue. It's a table. So I'm just going to do this. So here is it. So let's look for a dimension here to break it down by. So let's go for a supervisor. So I will need to some kind of swap this, move this up, or we can just deselect this and move this down. Oh no. So just move the revenue down. Here we go. It has been swapped. I want to go ahead and format this as a table. We have to go to view, and from view, we can click on format. So on the format, we just have to crank up the value. Let's put the value on 20 now. That will be nice. And for the header, we can treat the header to be like 17. Okay, fine. We can see this right way. All right, we want to compare this with our budget. Let's just look at if we add our budget to this, what is going to happen. So go to the measure quickly and bring in it. Okay, can you see this now? Something happened right here. So we can compare this because there is no relationship between what? Between our budget and the, the fact table. So can we just create that for the time being there? So we click here and here we go. So you can just go ahead and close this to pave way for visibility. So now we have our budget here. So we have the fact table. So there is no relationship, right? So how can we do this now? Okay, we have the salesperson ID here. And if I come here, we can find the salesperson. We couldn't find the salesperson ID right here. Let us go ahead and check it out and see where we can find the salesperson ID. So click on your fact table. And okay, salesperson key. We have the salesperson key here in the fact table. So let's go back here and look for that salesperson key. Okay, salesperson key. Link this to our salesperson ID here. Let's see what we're gonna have. So now it's telling us that we're about to create many-to-many relationship. So for the time being, let us just agree with this for now. It's not the best way to do this, but we can just use this for now. All right, let's go ahead and check this out. I think this has fixed this for us. Okay, we're going to do something very much, amazing. But the problem we're going to have is when we try to create something different, like if I decide to use this matrix here, for example, and I bring in my year here, if I slice by year, there will be problems. So it's going to break in the year. So for that, we need to create another table, which is a table for a date table. And instead of me to create many-to-many relationship, just like as I have right now, we have to do what we call normalization. Normalization is for you to make sure, what can stand on their own should stand and leave the table. So what I'm talking about right now is this. So in this table, we have the salesperson right here in this particular table. So we have salesperson, we have salesperson ID. So we have manager. So we have manager and we have supervisors, right? So they can all be in the same table. So which means we are going to create a table for this and we're going to clear it off from here. And what will only link them is the key, the foreign key from this table and the primary key from this particular table right here. Now, after that, now for we to actually slice by year, and all of that, so we need to create a date table. So we're going to have on that table here where we're going to have our date right here. Remember, our date contains foreign keys, right? Sorry, primary keys because they are unique. While from here, the date will definitely have some couple of duplicates. So if you agree with me, let me take you straight to the step we're going to follow to actually have this created. First of all, let us normalize our fact table. So go ahead and click on transform here. Okay, we're here in the fact table. The very first thing I'm going to do is to some kind of duplicate this. Some people would do reference. Let's do reference. So you can do reference, you can do duplicate. It depends on which one you want to use. So when we do reference now, and I want to, for example, delete this, I wouldn't be able to delete it because it has connection to this one. So with our reference, there are so many ways to do it. So we can decide to manually get what we want from here, like the salesperson key. We want to get the salesperson key. We want to get a salesperson. We want to get a supervisor as well. And we want to get manager. So another way to have the same thing done is for you to actually use your home. And from home, you go to where it says choose columns. We have two things here. If I go to column here now, so what I have on go to column is to actually navigate to a particular column. So let me just show you why that is going to happen. Instead of me to start searching for a particular column from here, I have to start scrolling slowly, and sometimes I will even get past it. So the only thing you can do to get to that column with ease is to go here and use this go to column here. And ASAP, you want to go to quantity, click on that and click on OK. And it jumps you to where that particular column is. That is what that is used for. All right, if I go to choose column here now, I click on choose columns. So I have all the columns available inside my table here now. Can you see it now? So I can deselect everything, and I'll be like, okay, I want to keep what? I want to keep this salesperson key. I want to keep salesperson. I want to keep supervisor, and I want to keep manager. You get it? So for other ones, I don't want to keep them. I can click on OK here, and they have it. You get it? So now that we have actually gotten this table duplicated, the very first thing we need to do is for we to some kind of make this particular table to be some kind of unique. So we need to have a unique value in this particular table. So we need to have one salesperson, one supervisor, and one manager, then one single ID. So we shouldn't have anything that has to do with duplicate right here. So we have to remove all the duplicates. So let's see how we can do that. So the very first thing you have to do is to actually, go to this column here, or head of the column, right click, and you just say remove duplicates. So now we have the unique list of our sales person, but where is this particular null coming from? So we have to remove it. So if we must remove the null from here, we have to go as well in the other table and have its null removed. So click on OK to remove the null, so we don't actually need it. So we're going to head up to our main fact table right now and have the null right there removed as well. So let us some kind of look at any column we can click on to give us that particular view of null, and here we have load more. So let us load more, and I love to check it. If this particular null cut across every single column, then I'm going to have it removed. So as you can see, we have this null here. So to do the check, click on the null alone and click on OK. Let's see what we are going to have. All right, as you can see, we have the null everywhere. There are no values in between all the columns. So what we can do now, let us go ahead and remove this, and we can click here and just some kind of load more again, and we just go ahead and uncheck the null and click on OK, and that will be applicable to every single column that has the null. So here we go, click on OK. So that will definitely get the null off. So now we're back here. So we have achieved this. So what we need to do now is to just double click on this and name this one as dim for dimension. I always love to use underscore or dimension or sales person. Hit enter. Okay, let me tell you, we call this particular table a lookup table. So we can call it a lookup table, like lookup like this, or we can call it dimension table. Dimension table. So both lookup table and dimension table, they have the same name. They have the same name. We are actually referring to this particular table right here. So in this table, we have what we call primary. So primary key. So primary key. While in a table like the fact table and the budget table, they are actually with our foreign keys, right? Let's find out what that is. Let's go right to this particular, what I call it. Let's go to our fact table. So right now we are inside our fact table. You can see the key here. We have repetition of 565, 565. But when we get to our dimensional salesperson table now, this 565 only repeats itself once. Okay, and one thing you need to do once you some kind of normalize your table is for you to go to the table and remove those columns that are repeating inside the fact table. So we have salesperson, supervisor, and manager. I will go here now and just click on this. Well, let's go here. Click on choose columns. So this time around, I don't want to see supervisor any longer. I don't want to see manager. I don't want to see salesperson, right? But I want to see my salesperson key. It's very important. I need to keep that just to connect to this table. So I am going to go ahead and click on OK, and that would actually make that those ones to disappear. Okay. What just happened to this? Let's find out. Let's find out. Okay, I think this happened because I used reference. So let us use and that means to do this. We're not going to have this problem again. So I'm sorry for that. Let's quickly go back here now and click on this and quickly return back all of these now. So you have returned them back. And if I click on here, all I need to do now is going to return everything back. Everything is going to look fine, but we don't need to do this. We are using reference. We can definitely duplicate our, yeah, it's fine. But I'm going to tell you firsthand that no, we don't need to use you. I'm sorry if you're going to give us that habit of giving us an error when we remove some of those columns we don't want from here. So instead of us to use reference, let us go with the duplicate here. So we have the duplicate. Quickly, I'm going to just go ahead and say dim underscore sales person. Okay, fine. And quickly, we know those columns that we want to keep. It's very simple. We can just uncheck all of it. And we need the key, we need this, we need this, we need this. We click on OK. And quickly, we right click and just say, I want to just keep what the unique list of it. And that will be done for me. Let's give it some time. Okay, we have it already. That is correct. So we can now go here now and say, okay, because we have gotten those columns in that particular, in this particular dim salesperson right here, what we need to do right now is just to remove those columns that appeared in that list. So, oh, sorry, click everything. I don't want to see you, you, and you. And if I click on OK right now, what happened to the reference wouldn't happen to this. So it's looking very fine right now. So here we have this key to be on a whole number. So we have to come here and check our salesperson key and make sure it's on a whole number as well. And that is fine. So this is our, if I click on this now, let's see. So here we have the fact table to be the table that has to do with some foreign keys or foreign keys. So foreign keys. So the foreign keys means we have duplicate of this key, just like as I've explained to you. So if this will be our, fact table, what do we call this? This is under fact table as well. So what I need to do right now, I can just differentiate this table, which means I have two fact tables. I'm going to come here now and say, okay, I have this one to be fact table. So fact table budget. So now budget differentiates this one, and this one is just my fact table, and that is beautiful. So we have just gotten this. The next thing we need to do now is to just close and apply. So as you can see, automatically Power BI was able to detect that we have a relationship between those two tables, and it has been created for us. So let's find out if this is correct. How can you find out? Let me move this down. So your fact table should be beneath the dimensional table. So to find out, go ahead and double click on this. So it's going to open the properties for you. As you can see, salesperson key to salesperson key. So one, many, one. And here we can see mark this relationship as active. It's active right now, and it will have many to one relationship. So I can go ahead and cancel. That is nice. So in this case, we don't actually need to link many to many relationship here. All I can do is to right click and have it deleted. So we have a normalized table right here that we can actually connect our fact table budget to. So all we have to do is to click on the salesperson ID and take it up to the salesperson key right here. And that is going to give us one to many. Can you see that? This is awesome. So we have one more table to bring right in here, and that is the date table for you. So let's just go back to our view here. So it has been broken. We can just click on this and fix this. So all we need to do now is to bring how we want to slice this. We bring it in, and it will be okay. So let's go with here. So let's go now. We are going to use our salesperson dimension table. Let's go to the manager, or let's go to the supervisors here. And that is on the wrong place. So drag it here. So now we have it, and everything is looking very okay. If I choose to go to my fact table and bring in the dates right now, let's see what is going to happen. So we have the dates here. So before we drill down, look at the value we have. They look very correct. But by the time I click on this particular person here and drill down, at this level, the budget is not more correct. So that is where we need to create another table called the date table. So a date table would definitely handle this. Let's find out. We are right here on the data view. All you just have to do is just to actually go ahead to table tools right here, and you click on new table. So inside the new table, so we are going to create a calendar. So I just need to call this one my calendar. So with my calendar, I'm going to do shifts, enter, and I want to use calendar auto. Calendar auto is here. So calendar auto will definitely go inside my fact table and find the date column and retrieve all the date we have right there from the start to the last date. So I can just go ahead and make sure I click on the short format and do this. So the next thing I can do right now is to add more columns to this. Very simple and easy to create. So shift enter at the top of calendar auto. You use the add columns feature, function. Come right here and put your comma here. Shift enter. Down the first column we want to add is the year. So we have to close this comma, and inside this we use the year function. And with the year function, with this square bracket, you're gonna see this particular date inside the square bracket. Just like this. This is the date here. We need to feed to this, and we go ahead and close this comma again. We need to add for month. So for month, we can just say month here. So month, close this. And for month, we are going to use what I call format. So format is what can actually help you to transform, number into a string. So we can do the same thing here. We bring this. And once I hit my comma, how do I want to format my month? So I want the short month, close this, and have this close. So I need to format my month using the month number to have it from January down to December. So we go ahead now and say month num. Here we go. So this time around, we use the main month function here. All we just apply to it is a date column. Close this, comma again, shift enter. In case we want to use the weekday, what we can do now is just to actually add the week or day here. Close this, comma. So we use the format function. The format is looking for the date, comma. How do we want to format this? We use the DD, then we close this, and finally we close this, comma. So we need to as well format the weekday to start from the hierarchy. without we trying to do it alphabetically. Shift enter. Now we need to get what? Week number. So we do this comma, and for the week number, we use the weekday function. We just grab the date column and we close this. Okay, the next one now is going to be our quarter. We want to add quarter. That is fine. So I will definitely use QTR for quarter. Close this, hit your comma key, and we can use the format, and we use this comma here. So I think this is / I presume. So we use the 2Q here, and we go ahead and close this. So let us find out how this looks. Shift enter. We need to click close our add column, and once we hit enter, we're going to have some couple of columns inserted for us. Just give it some time. So now we have them right here. I can go ahead and have this closed. So all I have to do to format this one now is to click on it and come to this particular sort by column here. I'll go to month number, and I'll do this. So after I'm done with that, I'll go to this particular part here where I have to select my column. So we go here, we select the week number, we have it formatted. So there is no point in we showing this particular week number and the month number. So all I have to do is to click on this week number here, click on this eye icon here to have it hidden from the report view. So I'm going to do the same thing to my month number. I will definitely click on this here. I don't want to show my month number. I'm going to have it hidden, and that is exactly what it is that we can do. Okay, one thing I might want to add is if I want to add some kind of, what do I call it? Weekend, right? Weekend on weekday. How do I do that? So we can add a new column to do that. If we don't want to add it here, just go to new column here. So new column will be added to this particular place, and inside the new column, what you can do is to name this, let's bring it down. So let us name this week and or weekday here. So I put my equal sign. So I'm going to use the if condition to get this done. So I'm going to say if. So if what? If month. So if month number here. Okay, before I do this, I think I'm sorry. I should have shown you something. So let us not rush this. I'm going to just cancel this now. So inside here. So, okay, inside here, let's do this. So inside here, Saturday is 7, Sunday is 1. So that is under the week number. So if we now want to create for our weekday and weekend now, all we have to do is to follow 7 and 1 to be weekday. Weekend. I think I can try a particular function to do this. Let me just name this week and all weekday here. So I'm gonna do shift enter. So if I say, okay, let's say if, I think we have to put the equal sign here. Okay, I think the if and the switch can do it, but I'm gonna use the if here. I'm gonna say if week number here is equal to, or we can say if is in, can we use in? Let me try that in operator. If in, so we do this. So 1 and 7. So we go ahead and close this. So if that is true, what do you really want? So that means is actually week end, else is weekday. So let's close this and hit the enter key. Let's see if this works. Okay, it does. Can you see it now? So we have 7 weekend, 1 weekend, 2 weekday. I think I made a mistake here. So I can put my key here and hit my enter key. Weekday. Oh, sorry for that. Weekday. So can you see it now? So what is this particular in doing? So this in operator is going into this particular week number and search for 1. So if it finds 1, it's going to be true. If it finds 7, it's going to be true. If it doesn't find 1 or 7, it's going to make it false and it will return week, weekday. So if it finds both 1 and 7, they're going to be in weekend, and that is exactly what it is. So we are just, we have successfully created our date, table right now. All we need to do right now is to actually come here and click on these table tools here and click here and mark as the table. So we select here, select date. So it validated it successfully. We click on OK, and that is all we need to do. So right now we have a new date table. We can now go to here under the relationship view. So let's go ahead and close this one. All right, so we are going to bring in our calendar. So our calendar is here. Let's move this down, move this here. And now for our calendar here, we're going to connect our calendar to our date, which is order date here. But that doesn't solve one particular problem. That doesn't solve the problem that we are still going to have the correct value here, because right now we do not have a date column here, and we need to go ahead into Power Query to see how we can create a normal or proper date column inside our fact table budget. Let's check this out. So click on this and let's extend this here. So it doesn't solve the problem. So we still have this issue right here. So we need to go ahead and fix this. All right, let's do that. So to get our budget date, let's just go straight up to transform data here. So now we can go to this fact table budget here. And now, as you can see, we have our month. Make sure you select a month and hold your control to select year. I think this should be year. So I'm going to name this one to year. So not that of 2019, whatever. So change this to year. So now select the month first, select this. And we have two options to do this. Make sure the month is selected, please. So we have two options to do this. We can go under transform and we use the merge here, or we can right click and scroll down. You're going to see where we have the merge column. So let's use this. So, and we need a delimiter here, a separator. So I am going to click on this and let me just use the custom. So I want the dash. Okay, now we come here and name this one our budget underscore date. All right, so let's go ahead and click on OK. So let's just click on this particular A, B, and C and date. And this one works. That is nice. So this is exactly what it is. So I think it's going to work for you. If it doesn't work for you, let me know. After this now, what we can do is just to go ahead and click on this, go close and apply. So let's see now how we can actually create our relationship. If it doesn't detect the relationship for us automatically, we should create it ourselves. So it doesn't, I can see we are still having the same value here. All right, what can we do in that matter? So let's go back here now and run the relationship between this and our date. So drag this to the date here in our calendar. And that will definitely correct what we are looking forward to seeing, right? So let's do that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I think I got it now. So the reason why it's not working was because we are still using the date from our fact table. As you can see, if I scroll down now, we are using the order date right here. So let us change the order date and we click on the calendar table here now. So we can now choose to use this date. And if you look at it now, we only have for this particular day here. So we can decide to remove this and let us use it on a monthly level, if that is going to be cool. Let's do monthly level. So we click on the month. And as you can see, this is very, very correct. So any of the supervisor you click on, you're going to see it on a monthly basis, how they are doing. And let us give glory to our custom calendar table. So I believe with this particular step we have taken right now, you will definitely understand all we have done and apply it on your own personal project. That is just my goal right here, making you to think like an analyst in how you can actually take data and make it sing. So for the first time, what we need to do is to make sure we get our data clean, transformed, and creating a relationship, normalize or denormalize tables. So we have normalized our table. Let's see in the next part, let's see how we can actually denormalize table and still get what we want from it.